Good afternoon, everybody. Today I'm going to be reading to you a story called A Very Blustery Day. Piglet lived in the forest in a grand house. One day, he was sweeping leaves away from his front door when a big gust of wind blew him right into Pooh. "Happy Wednesday, Piglet," said Pooh, as a great gust of wind lifted Piglet high off the ground. "Well, it isn't very happy for me," Piglet said, with a gulp as he floated higher and higher. "Where in the world are you going?" Pooh cried, running after his friend. "I'm asking myself that," said Piglet. "Where?" "And what do you think you will answer yourself?" Pooh asked, grabbing hold of Piglet's scarf. It unravelled until Pooh was flying Piglet like a kite. The wind blew stronger and stronger, and before long, Piglet and Pooh found themselves blown right up against Owl's window. "Who is it?" Owl hooted. "It's us," said Piglet. "May we please come in?" "Well," said Owl to himself, "someone has pasted Pooh and Piglet on my window." "It's the wind," explained Pooh, as the three friends sat down at the table. "That reminds me of a story," mused Owl. And Owl, not noticing the table upended or the fact that his guests were being blown around his house, proceeded to tell a story about his Aunt Clara's cousin. It wasn't until the whole house came crashing down around them that Owl finally finished his tale. That night, the wind had finally settled down, but Pooh couldn't. He kept hearing anxious sorts of noises, and then he heard a noise that he had never heard before. Pooh decided to investigate the noise. He went to his front door, flung it open, and was knocked right onto his back by a bouncy creature. Said the creature, "I'm Tigger. Who are you?" "I'm Pooh," said Pooh. "Would you like some honey?" "Tiggers love honey. Yes, please," cried Tigger, as he swallowed a glob of honey. "Yuck," Tigger gagged. "Tiggers do not love honey. Honey is only good for heffalumps and woozles." "Heffalumps and woozles," said Pooh thoughtfully. "And what do they do?" "Nothing much," replied Tigger. "Just steal honey." After Tigger left, Pooh went back to bed and fell asleep. But it wasn't a restful kind of sleep. He dreamed that he was surrounded by heffalumps and woozles, and they were all trying to take his honey. Suddenly, one of the heffalumps poured water over Pooh. He was soaked. Pooh woke up and the heffalumps and woozles were gone, but he was still soaked from the water leaking through his ceiling. So Pooh gathered his honey pots and climbed up the tallest tree he could find. At Piglet's house, there was even more water. Piglet tried to scoop it into a big iron pot, but the pot was not big enough for all of the water. Piglet floated right out of the door into the river, and there in the river, floating right next to him, was Pooh, along with Owl, Kanga, Roo, Rabbit, and Tigger. "I don't mean to complain," Piglet said, to no one in particular, as they floated, "but I think we're about to go over a waterfall." Pooh reassured him. "You'll be okay, Piglet," Pooh said. "Just hop into one of my honey pots." As they landed in a pool beside the falls, Christopher Robin stood on the bank of the river, searching for Piglet. And suddenly, Piglet appeared, dry and safe and sound inside the honey pot. "Pooh Bear," said Christopher Robin, "you saved Piglet. We shall have to throw you a hero party." On a beautiful sunny day, the friends gathered to honour Pooh. Then Pooh and Piglet were gathered in a blanket and tossed up high into the clear blue sky. "Hip hip hooray for Pooh saving Piglet! Hip hip hooray for Piglet being saved!" everyone shouted. And that is the end of the story.